So friends, as we wait for the Donald Trump disqualification issue to hit the Supreme Court, we may actually have a pretty good indication of how one of the conservative Supreme Court justices might decide the issue. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenkersner here. So friends, with multiple states disqualifying Donald Trump from the presidential ballot, Colorado, Maine, all eyes will now turn to the United States Supreme Court to see if the Supreme Court will apply the clear language, the plain language, the unambiguous language of the 14th Amendment's disqualification clause, apply it against Donald Trump. But you know what, friends? One justice, one Supreme Court justice, seems to have resolved this issue previously when he was a federal appellate court judge. This guy, Neil Gorsuch. Now, friends, you already know that the Colorado Supreme Court has disqualified Donald Trump from the Colorado state ballot. Here's the headline from News 9 in Denver, Colorado. Colorado Supreme Court decides Trump is not allowed on state primary ballot. Now, friends, whereas you probably already knew that the Colorado Supreme Court had DQ'd Donald Trump, disqualified him from the presidential ballot, you may not have known that in their opinion, in the written opinion by the Colorado Supreme Court, they quoted and relied on an earlier ruling by then Judge, now Justice, Neil Gorsuch. Here is the headline from the Business Insider. Colorado court used Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch's ruling to justify disqualifying Trump. So about 10 years ago now, then Judge Neil Gorsuch had to decide whether states had the authority to ban, disqualify potential political candidates from their state ballots. And in 2012, in a case called Hassan versus Colorado, when Judge Gorsuch was a federal appeals court judge, here is what he wrote. A state's legitimate interest in protecting the integrity and practical functioning of the political process permits the state to exclude from the ballot candidates who are constitutionally prohibited from assuming office. So friends, if you'll indulge me, let me say that one more time, because this is a ruling from a Supreme Court justice that he entered back when he was a federal appeals court judge. He said a state's legitimate interest in protecting the integrity and practical functioning of the political process permits the state to exclude from the ballot candidates who are constitutionally prohibited from assuming office. Candidates like insurrectionists, candidates who engaged in insurrection, candidates who gave aid and comfort to insurrectionists by pledging love and pardons. A state court judge, after a trial on the merits, concluded, ruled that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection against the United States. A state Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court, concluded that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection against the United States. A Secretary of State in Maine concluded that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. And according to Judge Gorsuch, if one engages in insurrection, the states have every right, indeed every responsibility, to disqualify that person from their state ballot. You know, friends, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If the United States Supreme Court is an honest broker of the law, it will disqualify Donald Trump from the ballot. It will DQ DJT. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.